Hi everyone, it's Show here.
That's the big boss of TikTok doing his best impression of someone who isn't absolutely bricking it.
Some politicians have started talking about banning TikTok. Now this could take TikTok away from all 150 million of you.
The CEO today rallying the troops as he fights a growing anti-TikTok tide. Bans, bad news and burner phones dominating the headlines.
Well, I didn't have it actually on my phone. We have another phone.
As a tech Cold War brews.
Time might be up for TikTok.
We have been clear about our concerns about TikTok.
We are going to ban the use of TikTok.
New Zealand's government bans TikTok.
For government equipment, it is better to not access TikTok.
Schools and universities banning the popular app.
The European Commission has told its staff to delete TikTok.
The Commission decided to suspend the use of TikTok.
Everybody's talking about TikTok.
We have concerns.
No. I'm not that hip and trendy.
The future of TikTok's looking really scary. I mean, they've never had so much pressure, and that's why we're seeing TikTok have quite such a significant response. They're worried, and they've got good reason to be as well.
Australia is now looking to follow our overseas counterparts in banning the app on government devices as the US moves to ban it altogether.
We take the national security very seriously. The president takes that very seriously.
If you look, there's fundamental areas where this is a problem. The first one is where TikTok store data and what they do with it. But the second one that is even more important here is the algorithms and the potential for causing chaos and changing people's behaviour by using data with these algorithms.
Data weaponisation and disinformation at the hands of the Chinese government, the biggest concerns.
I mean, if you look at whether this is a justified threat or not, look at what's been coming out of the US intelligence agencies. They've deemed that TikTok is the biggest and most significant threat that we've ever had in history.
So yes, we have concerns.
So are governments right to block the social media superpower? And what does all this mean for its billion-plus users?
Lee Hunter is the GM of TikTok Australia and he joins us now. Lee, so you're saying the UK, US, Canadian, Kiwi and EU governments are all wrong about TikTok?
Well, look, things are certainly heating up when it comes to TikTok. I think a lot of the commentary that's happening at the moment, somewhat frustratingly for us, isn't based on evidence. You know, I think about what's going on in Australia and all the work we're doing to keep Aussies safe on the platform all the time. I think sometimes we get a little singled out with what's going on, and I'm here to tell Aussies that they're safe on TikTok, and we're doing a better job every day, working hard to make sure that they love TikTok more and more and feel really safe.
Whichever way you cut it, though, TikTok is a Chinese-owned company and there are laws in China which would require companies like TikTok to share their data on request. So how is that safe?
Well, look, there's a few misperceptions out there, and one of them is that we're a Chinese company. TikTok doesn't operate in China. We're a global company. And there's also this idea that somehow we're part of the Chinese Communist Party and at their whims. Look, I'm here to tell you that's absolutely not the case. It's not true whatsoever. For Australians, the user data is held in the US and Singapore with really strong cybersecurity to make sure that data is held safe. You know, a lot of misperceptions out there around what happens on TikTok, but I'm here to say Australians are safe on TikTok.
But Lee, it seems odd that you would be singled out if you actually have no connection to China whatsoever. So your story seems to be that they are just completely out of the blue picking on TikTok and creating a completely false association with China. What would be the motivation behind constructing a lie that elaborate?
Well, look, I think we can be a convenient target sometimes, and I think we're a headline-grabbing target.
But why are you convenient? If you've got no connection to China, there's nothing convenient about you at all. Why would they choose TikTok?
Well, look, I actually agree with you, and we don't have those connections, and that's why I'm here talking to you and your audience about this. Look, the fact of the matter is...
ByteDance, the company that owns TikTok, is not a Chinese company. Is that what you're saying?
ByteDance has its origins in China, but it's very much a global company.
Lots of companies. Apple is a global company, but it's still an American company. Is ByteDance a Chinese company or not?
ByteDance has its origins in China, but I think what we're really getting at is...
Is it still registered in China?
No, it's registered outside of China. And for TikTok, it doesn't operate in China. And again, like for Australians, one of the reasons why they can feel safe is the data is not held in China. You know, TikTok has been set up deliberately outside of China, recognising some of these geopolitical concerns that are out there. And so we've taken enormous steps to make sure that users are safe on TikTok.
So does ByteDance operate in China at all?
ByteDance operates in China.
OK.
Yeah.
So this is the point, right? So once you have a business like that operating in China, that's where the laws that Jamila mentioned before come in, right? Where the Chinese government has a call on them to be able to access that data. And that's what makes TikTok different. So to say that there's no connection with China whatsoever, that's just disingenuous, isn't it? That there is a connection. You might say it's tenuous, whatever, but there is a connection, and that's precisely what's being targeted.
Well, look, we have employees all over the world, including China, but we're not alone in that. In fact, I had a look today at some of the privacy policies of some of Australia's biggest banks and some of our telcos, and they also have employees based in China. And I think this is another example of where we get singled out a little bit.
But do those businesses, for example, one of the things that TikTok has done is it's updated its terms and conditions so that it now has the ability or the right to collect biometric data. It can collect facial recognition data, it can collect voice recognition data. That's something, as far as I understand, banks and resources companies don't do. So they have a huge treasure trove of data there. If the Chinese government can access that, then that is of concern. Are you saying that the Chinese government, not what they have done, but they don't even have the legal right within China to access that government of a company that's operating in China?
Yeah, there's a few things here. Look, first is the data is not held within China.
But that's beside the point, isn't it? If they can access, if they've got a legal right to access the company's data, then where that data is held wouldn't necessarily be a barrier.
Well, look, again, there's a bigger conversation to be had here. And where we do get singled out is the fact that, yes, we have employees based in China, but so do these other companies that very clearly, and these are some of Australia's biggest and most loved companies, they very clearly state in their privacy policy that they can and do share information with third parties and employees all around the world, and including in China.
Does that include facial recognition technology and voice recognition technology?
Well, look, we very clearly state what we do collect in our privacy policies, and we only collect the amount of information that's needed to give you the best experience on the platform, to make sure you have a great experience.
Hell of a lot, right? You can see the concern, can't you? Because if you have a company that's collecting facial recognition and voice, like biometric data, and that data can in some way, at a future date, be accessed by a government like the Chinese government, which has a history of using that sort of data for all kinds of purposes, that creates a unique problem. That doesn't apply to other social media companies. It doesn't apply to other non-social media companies that might have employees in China.
Well, I want to be really clear about this. We do not and we will not share information with the Chinese government around Australian user data. I want to be unequivocal about that. That's really important. But I think where we do have concerns around data that's being captured, we're really transparent about what we collect and why. And that's one of the reasons why I'm here talking to you today. And I think where we do have those other companies that have employees based in China, look, they're holding information around financial information, health information, telecommunications information. If there is a bigger concern from the Australian government about that, let's not single TikTok out. Let's have a broader conversation about data security and privacy, and look at cybersecurity as well. And we only have to look at Optus and Medibank and now Latitude Financial to see that there are bigger issues at play here.
Just one last question, Lee. The Chinese government comes to you and says, all that data you have, we want access to it. What do you say to them, and what can you say to them?
Well, we say very clearly no. Okay. The data isn't held in China and you can't get access to it.
OK.
You signing up, Wal?
He'll
think about
yes.
it.
That would breach all sorts of my own terms and conditions.
Lee, thanks for joining us tonight. Appreciate it.
Thanks a lot.